Okay, hello. I want to see if I can approach a hopefully quick topic. I don't know about the connection between two games that I want to focus on. I have been intrigued between with the connection between The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening and Super Mario Sunshine because I noticed that Yoshiaki Koizumi had, as far as I can tell, a big-ish role in both of them. In at least what it seems like, he had some sort of a role in determining the story elements or the world building elements of both games, uh, and and other games. But in any case, I'm intrigued by Yoshiaki Koizumi recently of mm, because of a certain dreamlike character that his stories and games seem to have. In this case, though, the connection's very interesting because I realized that basically. So what's the issue here? What are we talking about? We're talking about, in a sense, Isle Delfino, right? Isle Delfino is the island in Mario Sunshine, and it is the place where everything takes place, right? Everything takes place on this island. And it's an island shaped like a fish, in a sense. It's shaped like a big fish, a big marine creature. Um, so that's where you are. That's like the nature of the island, you could say. You could say that you're in an island that is a huge fish. And you're inside, in some ways, you're inside the body of that fish because the different terrains of the island echo different parts of the body of the dolphin, right? The crater seems to stand for the blowhole of the crater of the volcano, and so on. Anyway, so there is like a dolphinness to the island. And this is very interesting because it's very similar to the island in Link's Awakening. Because the island in Link's Awakening, as far as I can tell, like if I remember correctly, it was the dream of a whale. Like the whole island is the dream of a whale. And therefore, right, you're waiting for the whale to wake up in some way, and that's where you are. You're inside the whale's dream. So in both cases, the action takes place inside an island that is a whale in some way. It is like the nature of a whale, or the nature of a big, large sea fish thing. A large marine beast, let's say. The archetype of a large marine beast. You're inside the whale. You're inside the whale's dream. But then also, what's interesting to me in some way is that in both islands there is a volcano, or like the crater of a mountain, which, and I just realized now, ends up being the final location for the game. So in Mario Sunshine, that's the final location. You battle Bowser at the top of the crater, at the top of the volcano. So it's like the whole game is slowly surging up towards the volcano, and then on the on the crown of the volcano, there is the final sort of encounter, the final moment. And then I think that in Link's Awakening, it's the same sort of thing. The whole game is circling around the volcano, and then that's the final point of the game. You climb up the volcano, you climb up to the top of the volcano, and at the top of the volcano is where the final sort of culmination happens. And then what's funny about that then too is that you could potentially read the crater as being also in some way the center of the whale. Why? Well, I think because in Link's Awakening, and I don't know, I'm just exploring this, see what you think, but I think like in Link's Awakening, the crater is where the egg is. I should wait. Okay, some much needed wiki reading was just done. And I see now, okay, so Yoshiaki Koizumi apparently wrote the entire manual and story for Link's Awakening. I think because at the time only the gameplay was developed, so there was no story, and he just developed the whole story of the game. So obviously it would mean that he developed the idea of the island and the windfish and all that. And then as far as I can tell, he directed Super Mario Sunshine or something like that. I think it was his first actual like directorial, like full direction of a game. Anyway, so then that's very interesting because apparently, so the windfish is in some way Link himself, because when the windfish's dream is Link's dream. So the whole idea is that when the windfish awakens, Link will awaken. They awaken together. Their awakening is the same awakening, because somehow it's like the windfish is like is a part of Link or something. Probably a deeper part of Link, a part more connected to the self as a deep self. Maybe, some sort of a deep centeredness or union with the world. I'm not sure. But so it's funny because I think that the windfish has this sort of design. Okay, excuse me. Yes, right, that's what I thought. So basically, where the blowhole would be on the windfish's head is this enormous, like, mandala image. That's interesting to me because it suggests that the blowhole is a special sort of place that's like at the center of a circle. At the center of the circle, there's this place that's at the top of the head, and it's like an important place. It's highlighted in some way. And of course, in Super Mario Sunshine, we get the same idea that the blowhole is equated to the volcano, right? And it's like on the center of the head, there is this volcano rising up. Okay, so what are we talking about? What are we trying to talk about here? Okay. On the one hand, there's this fact that the windfish is a winged fish also. It's a fish with wings. Link sees it flying up in the air. So it's a union of the theme of flying up in the sky and swimming down in the waters. It's a mix of sky and waters, or up and down. It's like it's a mix. In a sense, I think it's a union of opposites in that it is a centeredness. It's the centeredness, the middle way between flying and swimming. I think that's why it's in the center of something. It's in the center of the island. And it has this theme of mandalic centerness to it, the center of a circle. It's clearly the center of a circle too in other ways, because a lot of the promotional art shows that the mountain where it sleeps is surrounded by a mandala of clouds itself. And of course, there's just the theme itself that the egg sits in the center of the island, in the center of the volcano. So there's a lot of circles within circles within circles, right? And then in the most center one, the one that is the most center between flying and swimming, is the windfish. The windfish then sleeps inside an egg. So that also, could point to the fact that it's sleeping, in that it's not yet it hasn't been born. The egg needs to crack, and a cracking egg, is something being born. So there's some sort of an equation between being born and waking up, which apparently, according to the story, is what Link was sort of trying to do. The story is Link has been traveling all sorts of distant lands to kind of like find himself in some way, to train with different people and see if he can achieve the kind of inner peace that he wished he could achieve. And so, right, he's trying to find himself in the traditional way. He's sort of trying to sort of get in touch with some sort of deeper part of himself, I think. And that's what he finds by entering into this windfish dream and finding the windfish. So in any case, though, the other thing is that all of this is happening in the center of the mountain, on the crater. And so you could say that the windfish's head, which we associate usually to dreams, where this dream is coming from, is the center of the island. And at least, that's at least one vision I get. And then, of course, in Isle Delfino, we also have a similar sort of idea, in that the crater of the island, which is the climax of the story, is the head of the dolphin, the head of the giant fish. Anyway, so I think these are themes we're sort of playing with in some way. It's really interesting to me also how the windfish is within its own dream, dreaming its dream from within the dream, right? So if the island is the dream, it's this big circle. The island is the contents of the dream, the trees and rivers and mountains that make up the world of the dream. And then somehow it's as if we're being told that this is coming from, like, all of this stuff is originating from the center of the island itself. So the dreamer that is dreaming all of these mountains and rivers and trees and forms, all these forms, is included within those forms. Those forms at their very center are the dreamer that is dreaming them. I like that idea, that the dreamer is somehow dreaming the dream from within the dream. It's included within. And of course, in the fact that Link finds the windfish and then says, oh, actually, it's me, in the sense that I'm waking up as the windfish is waking up. We're both waking up together. So somehow, it's a realization, which Link then has, because Link has confirmation after his dream, after he's like woken up. He sees the windfish flying. And that's sort of like confirmation that, like, oh, okay, it was real, right? So it means that the dream, the center of the dream is the self, right? That somehow the Link finds in some way that he is inextricably in union with everything around him, because all of the dream around him is originating from within, or something like that. Or not originating from within, but that there is again, there is a union of opposites, as the windfish indicates. It's a mix between flying and swimming. There is a perfect mix of those two things, I think, and that's something that Link learns. Okay, so that's cool, I think, and I'm not exactly sure what role that has for Super Mario Sunshine, but it's interesting that that has something to do with the head. I'm really fascinated with this head thing, because Mario Sunshine, in some ways, highlights the theme of head even more than Link's Awakening does, because it goes into this whole thing with plants growing out of head, right? That the Piantas are creatures whose heads are sprouting with plants. There's something about their heads that is sprouting, you know, and of course, you know, a classic. We have Mario himself is someone who wears a hat, and you can see that this grows in importance throughout the saga, where now we get a game like Super Mario Odyssey where the hat is of crucial importance, and almost we are shown that the hat, even though the hat had been important in different games, it had been some sort of a source of energy in some way, it literally becomes alive in Odyssey. There is something about it that is actually alive, that is actually like a part of Mario, that is different from him, but that he's connected to, and that it's sort of like this. It's this duality of identity, in a sense. It's this duality of identity where there is me and there is also Hat. And of course, you know, with Link, that happens, where there seems to be a duality of identity between him and the whale. It's like, oh, there are two. It's me and there's something else, and it's like self and other in a sense, and it's like this realization that they are both, that something else is also me, or something like that. And so, what else? What else? The theme of hats. Okay, so Sunshine really highlights this theme of hats. Somehow. I'm intrigued. Of course, the whole game has to do with the sun and sunshine, which is something that falls on us from above. There is something about the above. Maybe the hat is something that is connected to the above, right? It's something that points upwards in some way and is connected to the above. That could be it. But there is also this fact that the hat is then associated to the plant or to the flower, to something that flowers from the head, and of course also flowers upwards in some way. It's you know, interesting to think in this regard of well, I'm personally very interested in like Buddhist iconography and the idea of the lotus flower and the lotus flower opening with being associated to the head opening and being associated somehow to a state of awakening, or a state of seeing things as they are, or something like that. So that seems to be going on, right? You could say that maybe something like that is happening, that there is a way in which these characters are experiencing an obsession with the head that leads them to the head sort of opening up and connecting with something else. In a sense, maybe it's the fact that the head then connects to something else. It connects to the sun, for instance, or to the to the air around you, to the light, to the water. Mm, so maybe it's something like that. It's the act of sort of connection between yourself and the part of yourself that you consider to be most sort of you, this sort of like face that represents you as you interact with others usually, and the world. So somehow this space that we associate with ourselves as individual units find some sort of state of connection or relationship to a whole series of environments, a whole sort of environment around you that you are also connected to. So I don't know. I wonder if if these games are exploring themes of this sort, and if maybe this is part of what the saga is kind of heading towards. It's somehow this idea is slowly kind of being expressed in more and more ways, or something like that. I don't know. That's, I think, all I have to say about it now. So thanks for listening, and yeah, bye.